Welcome to the First Tech Challenge 2016 team briefing. So running the FTC program, we have Gary Major, FTC partner, Adrian Rimey, the event and logistics manager, Aaron McCallum, president of First Washington, and Kevin Ross, our P&W district chairman. Let's see, do we have folks online? Yep, most everybody's joining quickly. All right. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Interleague Championships and both the state championship and the FTC West Super Regional. And we are going to harp a little bit on some volunteers. Maybe you guys can guess that's why I'm here. So, your upcoming Interleague Championship dates. So these are the competitions where all of the leagues are going to come together. And if you take a look here, we've got on Saturday, January the 14th, we've got 3 events going on. The Curie Interleague is going to be at Moses Lake. That's going to be the Ignacy and Hopper leagues coming together. The Pasteur Interleague is going to be up in Everett. That's the Bretagne and Touring leagues. The Watt Interleague is down in Tacoma. And that's going to be Salk, Shockley, and Spencer coming together. Then on Sunday, we are going to return to our same Everett and Tacoma venues, but it will be a new set of volunteers and a new set of leagues. So Tesla is going to have the Nuth, Babbage, and Ritchie leagues, and the Feynman down in Tacoma is going to be the Loveless and the Maxwell leagues. So everybody will get a chance to play. This will be the first time, though, that all the leagues come together and you have judging will take place. So this will be a little bit more formal event, and you'll come together and have a schedule of matches to go along with a judging schedule. So a little bit bigger events going on for this one. Let's see. Just double checking to see if Adrian's pulling in here. So let me double check also and make sure we've got all the questions going on. So, and one of the questions is where in Tacoma, and I'm going to have Adrian answer that because I actually don't know which school that is.
And I'm on the line, Susan.
And you are on the line and going to save me.
So it's at Baker Middle School. And
Awesome.
We'll be emailing all the teams and giving them all the specifics.
Yep, so we just barely got through the dates.
Okay.
And
so
then,
you got through each of the interleague dates?
Yep, so we just went through which league was going into which interleague.
Okay, so basically in the next couple weeks, you will get an email from me that will give you more specifics. And initially, it might only talk about the venue and kind of a basic schedule, just so that you have some information. And then as we get closer to the event and everything, we will give some more specifics on exactly what the schedule is for the event. The one thing that I can tell you is that for those of you that are new, in general, judging happens in the morning and the events happen in the afternoon. They usually start just before lunch. We'll run a few rounds before lunch and then finish up after lunchtime. But so if you have family or have people who want to come watch, I would have them show up around 11 because there's not much going on that's of any interest to spectators prior to that point. I think 11 or 11:45 is usually when we have our opening ceremonies. So if you have them show up between 11 and noon, that would probably be a good time. So are you okay still working the slides, or do you want? Yep. Sorry, everybody. I had a daughter that had to get to cheer practice, and her dad is out. So I had Susan step in for me because I was
okay. We're good. You talk. So, I'll run the slides and watch the question box.
Okay, thank you.
We're good to go.
So our FTC State Championship is on Saturday, February 4th. And we are increasing the number of teams this year. In the past, we've had 32 teams, but with our growth and with adding a fifth league, or I guess I should say a fifth interleague, we decided to increase it to 36 teams. So if you look at the numbers in parentheses, and it's based on a percentage of teams. So in the past, we had 4 interleagues, and they were pretty evenly matched team-wise, and each one sent 8 teams. So this year it changed a little bit because our dynamics changed and our percentages changed. And so Curie will send 4 on. Past year will send 8, Tesla 8, Feynman 7, and Watt 9. And if you want to know how who goes and who doesn't, there's an advancement criteria section in the FTC manual, and that's what we follow. And so my recommendation is that you guys take a look at that before the event, just so you understand how teams advance to the next level. The next event will be our FTC West Super Regional, which is March 10th through 12th. There are 72 teams going to that event. That event encompasses 13 states, and our allotment this year increased. So this year we are actually getting to send 10 teams. In the past it's only been 8, but because of the growth we had this year, we get to send 10. So, and again, that's the same advancement criteria. So if you check that out in the manual, it will explain how all of that works. Well, I'll cover it a little bit later. You can go ahead and switch the slide.
Okay, so
I'm not used to not driving. Do you want to talk about this section, since this is really you?
We can talk a little bit about volunteers. Everybody should know this is pretty much 100% driven by volunteers, league coordinators, all of the league volunteers running these things. But we are concerned that our community doesn't realize how many volunteers it takes. If you're running just one league event, you may not see the big picture. So we're going to harp just a little bit on these numbers because they're actually a little bit mind-boggling. To run the FTC program, it takes about 750 volunteers in just Washington. We need about 250 volunteers just to run the 5 Interleague Championship events that are coming up on one weekend. We need another 60 volunteers to run the state event. So those 32 teams, or 36 teams, it takes about 60 volunteers to put that event on for them. And then you've all heard about the West Super Regional. I forgot to update this number. It's not 100 volunteers. It's more like 150 to 170 volunteers.
Sorry, I forgot to update that.
For that super regional event. So that's huge. But in addition to FTC going on, the FLL program also runs concurrently in the fall and through January. We just got through the qualifiers where we needed about 800 volunteers on just 2 weekends, but we still need an additional 200 volunteers to get through our semifinal events, which are the week after Interleague, so the weekend of January 21st and 22nd. We have 4 events going on for semifinals. But on that same Saturday, January 21st, we need another 70 volunteers. We're running a state championship event in Eastern Washington in Spokane. And then a couple weeks later, that same state event for FTC, we also have a combined FLL state event that needs another 70 volunteers. So these numbers are huge. Between 1,100 for FLL and 750 for FTC, we're needing about 2,000 volunteer spots filled. I've got a little graphic that I put together to show our board of directors and some other folks. The bars are color-coded for the program. So the orange bar for FTC, you can see about where we need to be. Over 700 to 800, the black line represents where we should be right now with our recruiting process. And you can see we're not anywhere close. We have similar problems with FLL in red. The FRC program, we're all not panicking yet because it's not here at this particular moment, but we have a lot of volunteer needs for this program. So if you are not working a particular weekend with your event, we would really appreciate and expect you to either come volunteer yourself, recruit a parent, recruit a member of the community. We do have some roles for students at events, so we can have some students come and help. We really need volunteers. Adrian put together a recap just in case some of these numbers were forgotten. Just in January, we need about 500 volunteers in 2 weekends. In February, we're up to the 130 to get through our state event. In March, we're going to be slammed because not only do we need our 150 volunteers for the super regional, but we need another 800 to 1,000 volunteers to run the FRC district events. So a ton of volunteers to run this program. We are getting, with the FLL program, one of the largest programs in the world. Our FTC program is very strong, and our FRC program is a district one, so it incorporates not just Washington, but we also include Oregon and Alaska, and we expect that to grow as well. But we can only grow and support these teams if we have the volunteer base that runs these programs. That's what makes this successful.
And so basically what we're just trying to make sure the teams understand is, we have 148 FTC teams. We have in our FRC PNW district, we have 156 teams, and 580 FLL teams?
We got to 630 this year.
Okay, 630. Holy cow, I was off. If everybody provided one volunteer, that would go a long way towards solving our volunteer problems. But we just want, we want everybody to understand that that it really takes a lot of work, and we have a small staff of 6, but there's only so much the 6 of us can do as far as recruiting all of our volunteers, so we really need help from you. And as a former coach, I will tell you, if you guys are able to go judge at an FTC Interleague that your team's not competing at, because you won't be allowed to judge at one that your team is competing at, it will make you a better coach. I got to be in the judge room. I coached FRC for years, and I got to be in the judge room, and I learned so much about how to have my team present itself and how the judging process worked. And so I very, very strongly recommend you take time to, to become a judge at an event. And, and even judging FLL or FRC, you still learn a lot about the process. Much of the process is similar, but especially if you want to be a better FTC coach, I very strongly recommend judging at an FTC event. And the super regional, not only do we need volunteers, it is on a weekend. The matches will be run Saturday and Sunday, and so whether you volunteer or not, bring your team, have them walk around and look at the robots, have them talk with the students. It will make your team stronger. It will make your kids, it will inspire your kids to do better. And so if you're able to, take some time to come visit the event. Okay, on to the next one. I just wanted to touch base with everybody on what the interleague play is all about. So everybody has played 10 rounds in their competition that they've been scored for. We have had to merge all the files together manually, but we have created rankings, and we'll create, actually first is creating a new scoring file, and teams will go into their Interleague Championship events ranked. So you can go to the firstwa.org, under team information and FTC, the rankings are the very first thing you see, and you'll see your rankings by Interleague. Each team will play an additional 5 rounds, and we will have judging. And as I said, we're judging in the morning, so you'll want to check in at 8. Judging will start at 8:30. Depending on the event, some judge advisors allow you to sign up for your judging time. Others already have everything scheduled, but I strongly encourage you to make sure your entire team is there by 8, because you won't know which until you get there. We are judging for both the Compass and the Promote Awards at our events from this point on. And so I know that there's extra work that needs to be done for those awards, and those awards aren't necessarily mandatory awards, but we will be judging for both of those. And so there's a judging section in the manual, and so if you're curious about those awards, go ahead and check that out. But we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that we are judging for both of those. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So what to bring to your Interleague Championship event? I'm going to be a little bit repetitively redundant. You need to bring your roster and or signed consent forms. And I'm going to say it again. Every team must have their roster printed and signed consent forms when they register at 8 a.m. We do not have a printer, and we do not at most schools have access to internet. This is probably one of the biggest problems we face at our Interleague Championships and actually at all of our events. The day before, you need to go onto the first website, and even if you have nobody listed and have all just paper consent forms, you have to print that out. We send it to FIRST. So it's not something we're asking, it's something that FIRST is asking. And unfortunately, we won't be able to allow you to compete because there's a advancement criteria that we have to follow. And so it is very, very, very important that you have that printed out and ready to go. And it will make your morning for you and your students go so much smoother because we'll have to send you to a library. And you know, we won't let you compete. We won't let you participate in the robot competition if you don't have that. FIRST is really cracking down, and like I said, we get asked to send that. So just like your league events, you're going to bring your robot, extension cord, power strip, tools, any other materials that you need to work on your robot or anything that you want to bring into the judging room to show as a display. If you're bringing it to your league event, bring it to your interleague. If you think you should bring it, honestly, I would bring it and at least leave it in the car. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Susan, are you there?
Yeah,
oh,
you got it?
Go ahead and shift to the next slide.
Yep. Do you not see it?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I see it now. Sorry. So like I said, judging will take place in the morning, and the competition will start after. If you nominated a student for Dean's List, they will be judged at their Interleague Championship event. If for some reason they can't make it, let us know because we can work with the judges to set up Skype interviews. But the one thing you guys need to be aware of is those judging schedules get set, and those judges have a pretty tight timeline. And so as a result, if they are a member of your drive team, you will want to make sure that you have a backup driver because once the schedule is set, it just gets too difficult for those judges to try and shift it around. So when you show up at the event and find out your Dean's List judging time, if it happens to conflict with a match, then your Dean's List student is going to have to miss your match so that they can go to their interview. Your robot will have to fully pass inspection from this point forward, and I know at the last league event they required everybody to pass inspection. I reiterate this because the leagues sometimes are slightly flexible in an effort to get everybody on the field, and of course we want everybody driving, but at this point forward, we're at a little bit higher level of competition, and so you do have to fully pass inspection in order to get on the field and play. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So basically, feel free to reach out and ask us for anything you need help with. We can connect you with local teams if you have questions, about the interleague events and how all that works. Don't hesitate to email me. You guys should all start seeing at this point emails from me. You will see fewer emails from Gary because we'll send out fewer email broadcasts, and you'll see more emails from me that are specifically related to your event. And as you move on, you'll continue to hear from me to talk to you about what you need to do and bring and what the specifics are for your event. At this point in time, we can open it up to questions. And Heidi Heidi Levitt chimed in, yes, at the FTC Super Regional, we will have a college and a scholarship fair, so she is saying come to see the colleges. Does anybody have any questions? I know it's a Seahawks night, so I want to get you guys off of the call quickly, but at the same time, make sure that we give you all the information you need. So we'll sit here for another minute or so and see if there's any questions. Oh,
Yep, I can
if you have a
unmute anybody.
college you want us, oh, yep. And Heidi is saying, if you have a college you want us to invite, please email me at firstmentor@comcast.net. What I'm going to do is I will put her email address in the chat. There you go. So if you have any recommendations of colleges, send Heidi an email.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.